Versailles is an amazing bucket list destination, but I made a couple of mistakes when I visited, so here's what I learned. First, be sure to make reservations at least a few days ahead of when you want to go. I used the Paris Museum Pass and made reservations for the main palace and the Grand Trianon, which is the smaller summer palace. But I didn't realize those two palaces are 2 kilometers away from each other, so you shouldn't book them an hour apart like I did. The easiest part of the whole day was taking the train there. It took me just over half an hour to take the C train to a station that's only a 10-minute walk away from the palace, and it cost just €2.50. But after I arrived, I realized that if I wanted to see both the Grand Trianon and, of course, the regular palace, I was going to have to literally run to the Grand Trianon because it was a half an hour's walk away. So I did actually jog part of the way there, and then, of course, I realized there's a little train I could have taken instead for €5. The Summer Palace is definitely worth seeing, and I would see it before you see the big palace because then you'll be more impressed. You need at least a half an hour to see the Summer Palace and its garden because there is a little bit of a line to get in. So make sure your reservations for the Grand Trianon and the palace are at least 90 minutes apart. Instead of paying €5 to take the tram back, I decided to cut through the garden, which cost me €9. Normally, the garden is free, but because they had fountain shows that day, you had to pay extra. I made it to the palace in time, and even though you have a reservation, you still have to wait at least 15 or 20 minutes to get in. If you download the free Palace Versailles app and all the audio tours ahead of time, then you won't have to pay extra for an audio guide. The free audio tours work pretty well, and you can also read along if you prefer to do that. Once you're in the palace, my best advice is to just be patient. It is really crowded, and unfortunately, a lot of people seem more interested in taking selfies than in actually appreciating what they're looking at. And I later learned that by going on Tuesday, I actually picked one of the more crowded days because Versailles is closed on Monday. While rooms like the Hall of Mirrors are certainly spectacular, I really enjoyed the small details. For example, note the depressions on the staircase from hundreds of years of people going up on the edges of the stairs. You can explore the palace at your own pace, and the app will help you make sure you don't miss any sections. After I finished the palace, I went back into the garden. I know the garden is supposed to be this incredible thing, but I think it's more of a garden to be viewed from the palace than to be enjoyed when you walk around in. Yes, the sculptures are really beautiful, but there weren't that many flowers, or maybe I was just there after a lot of them died. I was so tired from running back and forth between palaces that I decided not to walk around and look for the fountain shows. So I missed that. One more note, if you have to go to the bathroom while you're there, it might take you 20 to 30 minutes. I was actually there for 4.5 hours and did not use the toilet once because every time I looked at the toilet, the lines were just crazy. So bottom line, Versailles is definitely worth a visit, but try to plan a little better than I did and don't let the crowds bother you too much.